Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh, my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined by my fellow co-hosts and filmmakers, John and Lane Woolscroft.
Guys, I'm going method for this episode. I will only answer to John or Sex Thunder from Brian.
Only if Brian calls
Only
him
if
Sex
Brian,
Thunder.
Sex Thunder.
Yes. What do you want?
Well, Sex Thunder, we got a hell of an episode this week, don't we?
We have a hell of a period of time to kind of unpack here, guys.
It's been a while.
Wait, did you say period?
No. No, not in that sense.
How did you know?
Oh, honey, are you menstruating?
Just a little.
Okay.
Are you menstruating?
Menstruating.
I was gonna say, are you menstruating, Sex Thunder?
Are you menstruating?
Didn't you hear that
Sex
clap?
Thunder? Oh my.
Yeah.
But hey, speaking of bodily functions, Brian, your daughter was born. That's glorious.
That was beautiful.
We came to it from a disgusting place, but she's perfect, you guys. She's perfect.
We're in episode 107, by the way.
107. What up, everybody?
Oh.
And I just would like to say that I would have faked it if you'd had an ugly kid, but thanks for not, because I didn't want to fake it.
And her head's not deformed. Like, so many kids come out messed up Play-Doh and...
Bro, okay, wait, you're getting specific and horrible. Don't make fun of some
she's
kids
got
that
a
are having a
perfect
hard
head.
time.
That's very important.
I mean, to you apparently.
Yeah.
But let's be kind to the other babies.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
they don't mind their babies.
You were good enough friends. I would have lied and been like, "Oh my God, she's perfect," but she is perfect. So thanks for doing that.
Guys.
You did us a solid.
Thank you. Yeah. So my baby daughter was born, which is why there's been a gap in the episodes coming out. I'm sure people were just like, "Fuck you guys, I want an episode." Yeah, so she was born. She's adorable.
Brian, don't do that voice for our audience.
What?
That's apparently what we think of you, dear listener.
No, I think you listeners are awesome. Seriously, I really do.
I heard the guy's got big old wieners.
But no, but be jealous, Psychos Nation, because I got to hold Brian's daughter, and she's amazing.
Well, there's a huge debate on who was the Psychos mascot. Was it Gypsy or was it Selena? In terms of the cat world,
that's true.
Now the baby trumps that completely.
Yeah,
the baby wins.
Well, here's the thing: she is getting a onesie with the the Cinema Psycho Show logo.
Yes.
Where can somebody?
Where can someone
purchase such
get
a
that?
joyous thing?
Yeah. So if you want, and she will be modeling it. Let me tell you that. You can get to our TeePublic store, and access any of our designs, as well as some designs from really awesome artists. Use the code PsychosNation to get 25% off. So there you go. But yeah, she's getting one of those onesies that are available on the TeePublic store, and she will absolutely be wearing one of them when she's big enough. Because right now she's still really small. She wasn't premature or anything like that. She's
a baby.
No, but I'm discovering this whole world of baby sizes and things like that, for clothing. I didn't know any of this shit. My wife is well aware of this stuff. This is a funny side story. So we were in Target. This was probably a couple days after my daughter was born, and we were looking for clothes, and she kept saying to me, she's like, "Oh, we got to find this in preemie." And I'm like, what the fuck is that? What's preemie?
Because she was just a little early, or
no, she wasn't.
Just small?
She's just small. She was a week early. She was due.
What I was gonna say.
She was due on
early.
July 1st, and she came on the 24th.
4 days off.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. but the thing is I don't know what she's like, "Oh, go find the preemie sizes." I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean you find preemie sizes?" So I go to the baby section and I'm looking at the clothes. I'm like, okay, I see 0, I see newborn, and then I looked over here. I'm like, oh, preemie, and it's spelled preemie. So I'm just like, oh, that's a size apparently.
Yeah.
So it's a whole new world for me. I've already had what we've called poop explosions. From the baby. That's fun.
Yeah.
And getting up early.
Dear listeners,
really
I hope you're still with us and enjoying the poop
I have poop
discussion.
explosions.
You have poop solution?
But that's just from my piss poor diet.
Dude, that's what happens when you drink beer and eat salted meat and don't see a vegetable.
It's like that Louis C.K. routine, like when you go to the Cinnabon at the airport that you landed in. Not because you're starving before you take off, but you went out of your way to go to the Cinnabon that you landed in.
You're like, well, while I'm here, might as well grab one on the way out. But yeah, so that's why we had a little bit of a gap in getting the last episode out. It's just the baby happened, but
enough about gaps, because that's where babies come from. But speaking of time gaps, Brian.
Oh shit!
Stop it.
You and the fucking transitions. Okay, so this is a little bit of news, and actually, it's a really big news. It's going to affect kind of the future of the podcast going forward.
We fired Lane.
No.
Hey.
Oh,
No.
shit.
No, she's still here.
Does she not know yet?
So basically,
Care for you much.
I'm trying to make announcements here.
Sorry.
Okay. So we've been doing this podcast for, this one makes it 107 episodes. And we've been doing it, once a week. We really try to hit that once a week mark. We are sometimes kind of, sometimes we hit Sunday.
Shit happens.
Sometimes we hit Sunday, and sometimes we roll into Monday when the episodes come out. But we really try to get them out, once a week, because we know that, you guys love the episodes, and really love the show. But we kind of are at a point where we're trying to retool how we do the show and how we get the show out, and just kind of our overall strategy. We hit 100 episodes and we were kind of like, that's great. We did it in like 2 years. But going forward, we want to see like, okay, well, we kind of want to be able to diversify kind of our content and how we get stuff out to you. And also just make time for some of the things that we really haven't made time for necessarily in the 2 years. Like when we started this podcast, I had just met my wife. That's how long ago this was. I had just gotten in a relationship with my now wife, and
We've come
I have
so
a kid.
far.
So in that time, I've gotten married, now I have a kid, and moved twice. And you guys just bought a house, and you've been going through the process of getting your house all together. So we really just kind of want to see how can we rebalance everything. So
this is going to sound a hint obnoxious.
It's not going to be obnoxious.
But we are
It might.
we are artistes in the sense that we have outside projects. Like I would love to say this is our full-time job, this podcast.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
I know what you're thinking. This is your full-time job. How come it sucks so bad? I say, fuck you. Why are you even listeing? Oh, what? Anyway,
Hey, you criticized me for saying the audience sounded like yes.
No.
And you just said fuck you to them.
It was Jeff in Tulsa. I really hope there's a Jeff in Tulsa. He's like,
He's like on his commute and like, wait, what the fuck? And he's like hitting the like back
Did the
button.
psychos just
The
call me
15
a
seconds
fucking
button.
asshole?
Almost rear ends the Mazda in front of him.
but Brian, you constantly have film productions you're working on. You teach it. I'm developing.
I would
YouTube
like to have
channel.
film productions I'm working on. Let's be honest here.
I'm developing YouTube channel. Lane, you're a writer. Like but we also have on top of that, on top of the podcast, we have full-time jobs, and it is in part that we can't kill ourselves.
No.
It's true.
Because we want to eventually, occasionally like go out and have a beer or do some dancing, or whatever the young people do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm at like 20% for everything that I do. I do everything right now at 20%.
I don't know if I can do 3 full-time jobs.
No.
No.
And I mean, I don't want to say this all comes down to money, but I mean, it kind of does. I mean, if this was our full-time job,
Well, we're only pulling in like $240,000 a year from doing this job. I can't live on that.
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit, boy,
Just
you-
like shut up with your face, because if I was making anywhere near that for
Yeah.
anything that I do, I'd be like literally like punching my own dolphin every
Let's
night.
just say
in
this, dear
ecstasy.
listener. It's somewhere between 0 and 240,000. I'll just let you figure out where that is.
it's the zero.
Oh, okay. Spoiler alert,
Okay?
Brian.
We do this podcast because we love movies, because
Yes.
we love talking about movies, because this is what I mean, for me, it's always been cathartic. I work a 9-to-5 job. I come home. I don't really have any other creative outlet other than making movies, and that's always a time-consuming effort, which requires a lot of money too. But this has always been something of like a almost like therapy. You know? So this show will always continue to go on. But with that said, here's our plan moving forward. Okay, and we want to be honest with you listeners, to let you know what we're doing. So for at least the summer, we're going to be switching from a weekly podcast to a bi-weekly podcast. What does this mean? Well, this means that every other week we're going to put out an episode. Okay, and we're going to try to make sure that every other week that episode is by and large fucking amazing. Okay.
Now, are we going 26 episodes or 24 episodes? They're doing bi-weekly and semi-monthly.
Well, I think more importantly, we're going to be working on content, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
as far
that's
as
the other
number of episodes.
that's the other side of it too. Is we right now our social media is kind of consisted of me pushing or John and Elaine pushing episodes that we put out, and maybe making some comments here or there, but not really doing a whole lot with that, just because of the fact that we do have so much of our time wrapped up in work and even just producing this stuff.
Sure.
So with that, having that extra 2 weeks open up where an episode isn't coming out, where we don't have to worry about coming in and recording, that leaves us time to focus on doing things like putting out blog posts, putting out social media posts, really interacting with you guys in a sense that we hadn't done really before. That way, by the time our episodes do come out, you've kept up with any sort of movie reviews that we post on the website, or any sort of conversations or polls that we've done on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, and really just kind of pare it down to that, so that we're working smarter, not necessarily harder. I know it's a cliche saying. I hate saying that, but that's honestly the truth. So moving forward after this episode, it's going to be bi-weekly, and we're going to try that at least for the summer and see how it goes. If for some reason it doesn't work out, we'll switch back to weekly. We're not against that. We've done 107 episodes as a weekly podcast, so we know we can definitely do it.
There may be times of the year that we do go to weekly, depending on like the seasons.
Yeah, if we have a lot of content to throw at you guys, but too, feel free to communicate with us on our social media platforms. Let us know what you think. If you have strong feelings either way, we would certainly like to hear them.
Absolutely.
Please keep us up to date, on what you guys are thinking. This is something that we want to try just so that we all have a little bit better balance and can give you as good of a show as possible. So
definitely.
So yeah, but let us know if either way you're not feeling it.
Yeah.
Or if you're really feeling it and you're like, yay, Cinema Psychos, do it.
I looked at other podcasts that had done this sort of thing too, and saw that they were able to, really grow and work smarter, not harder. So that's the big announcement. Big announcement.
Really big.
Really huge.
Really huge.
Big announcement. Speaking of me.
We're the same brand of asshole.
Let me tell you, we have a news story for you. I don't like the news. It's fake. These rallies aren't fake, though. Let me tell you something about...
Dear God, that's
these
enough.
These are the highest, biggest rallies.
John.
Are they...
John, come back to me.
What?
Nope. That was a lot. That was too much, I dare say.
Yeah, so you did have a little bit of a transition there, Donald.
But it just it derailed into madness like his does. Sacha Baron Cohen is up to his old tricks.
Did you just roll into our news bit?
He
did. Just rolled right into the news bit. Wow. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll be quiet now.
That's why I went off on that Trump bender. But, on the 4th of July, Sacha Baron Cohen dropped a kind of a cryptic...
Very cryptic tweet, right?
Yeah, it was an edited together little piece here. And we don't know exactly what he's up to, but it was based on Donald Trump's old vlog he had before he was somehow the most powerful man in the world. And then he immediately deleted when he was running for president, because I don't think he wanted those to contradict everything that he was saying.
See, here's the thing. I don't think that he wanted them deleted. I think his handlers wanted them deleted.
Amen.
Oh, yeah. I think that President Pissface thinks that everything he says and defecates is gold. So those vlogs, those are for him historical records.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, it's based on his blog or vlog that he used to rant about stuff, John.
Well, old Sacha there has quite a heated history with Trump where they don't get along. It's one of Trump's many many feuds. And,
Guys, aren't you going to miss this every week?
And
dear listeners.
But so it's a combination of the vlog post where Trump is just spewing vile hatred towards Sacha Baron Cohen and suggesting that there be violence towards him, physical violence, and tells him at the very end that he should go back to school because he's not funny. It's like, so he should go back to the funny school, and get his funny degree, because that's how that works.
Yeah, his professor is Doug Funny.
Yeah. But so the clip ends with, Sasha goes back to school to become funny, and then they run the Trump banner crest up there. So I don't know if this is going to be a fictionalized thing like The Dictator, or if he's doing like a full Borat thing, or if is he going to kind of do like a Michael Moore thing where he tries to like hunt Trump down and interview him.
I really hope he does a Borat thing, just because like I love Borat. A lot of people don't like Borat, or now they don't like Borat. They're like, it's kind of passe. I thought he was fucking hilarious as Borat.
Well, what if Sacha Baron Cohen like low key, like undercover, like enrolled in Trump University?
That's what I'm thinking.
Like that. I mean, that would be, if it was like an expose or something, that would be interesting as hell.
Or what if he goes and he does a new character, instead of Ollie G or Borat or Bruno? What if he's like just a Make America Great Again hat wearing, Southern guy and he does Borat, but as a Trump supporter, and outs like these Trump supporters, in their crazy beliefs, i.e. Borat again. Like Borat 2, but this time he's playing.
The problem is that the Trump supporters don't see their beliefs as crazy.
But that makes for an even better movie, because you don't really have to pull it out of them.
No.
Yeah. Well, what I think is interesting about this is, we haven't seen a lot from Sacha Baron Cohen lately, and he's kind of laid low, and I'm just kind of interested in what that means.
Well, his critics have attacked him because they're saying that he's going to the easy well because he hasn't had a hit for a while.
That might be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very polarizing no matter what, whether you want to take a more academic look at, the greater body of his work, or, what satire means, and, how he fits into comedy. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, but, he is very polarizing, and I get that.
Well, people forget that it's not just like his opus projects where he's something he created up in his mind. He's writer, director, star. Like, he does a lot of comedy acting in other people's films. Like, he's done Tim Burton movies, Martin Scorsese movies. Like, he just acts as well.
Yeah,
it's not
that's
always
true.
like, if you don't see Borat 2 hitting movie theaters, it's not like this guy isn't working steadily.
No,
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Yeah, but I'm curious to see what that teaser meant.
I'm curious to see how much sooner we'll get the information. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hope it's not just this cryptic tweet, and then like in 3 months we'll be doing the news bit again, and we'll be like, do you guys remember that weird tweet from Sacha Baron Cohen? And like nothing came of it. So I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we find out soon what's going on.
There is a chance that maybe, this is unlikely because it's not like Trump said anything recently. But there is a chance that it was just to take a dig at Trump. But it would have been something a little more recent than an old vlog from 2009 or 10 or whenever that was supposed to be. So I don't think it was just a, haha, fuck you, Trump. I mean,
I think the Trump University crest is very telling. Like, I think it must have something to do with that.
That's going to be part of it.
I think so. Why would you put that part of it on there?
Right. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So something to look forward to, guys.
Yeah. So we're going to jump to our interview with our featured. And we didn't even mention our featured interview.
Yay, our featured interview.
Shame on us.
For 6 weeks.
And we can't edit. It's impossible to edit these
It's
things.
impossible to edit these things. So we're going to jump to our featured interview with an old friend of ours. We went to a grad school, film grad school, and met this awesome person who was just the broadcast studio technician. Like, she was a student worker for the college.
It's kind of how we knew her, yeah.
It's kind of how we knew her.
Yeah, 'cause she was undergrad when we were doing our graduate work.
And she has now become a actress, comedian, and stunt woman.
So yeah, it's exciting that we're going to get a chance to speak to her and kind of get a different perspective than we normally have. We're going to get it from in front of the lens here instead of behind. So kind of excited to kind of break down the film that she's working on and other projects that she's worked on in the past.
Yeah, well, what's cool is my understanding is that the film is available now. So instant gratification. If you guys dig the interview with Katie, you can go out and buy her movie, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So,
and here's our interview with Katie Maloney.
Do you like the solar system?
Yeah, it's quite cool, planets and stuff.
And joined with us today is our featured interview with an old friend of ours from our grad school days, who's now grown up and become an awesome actress in her own right, Katie Maloney of the new movie Night Zero. How you doing, Katie?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome.
And Brian, I think you might be selling her a bit short. You are also yourself involved in film production, not just on an acting level, but you've also done film production as well in terms of being behind the camera as well as in front of it, correct?
Correct. Yes, I have.
Awesome.
Shame on you, Brian.
Shame on me. Shame on me.
It's a little Chatham reunion here, guys. I like it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So I think we should just kind of just jump right in the meat and potatoes, if you don't mind. Kate, can you tell us a little bit about your most recent project? Although we've all been creeping on you a little bit, and we see there's actually quite a bit on that IMDb page. But can you tell us a little about Night
page
Zero?
Looks good, girl.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Night Zero is one of the biggest projects that I've gotten the chance to work on, so that was very exciting. It's about a group of friends who are gathered. Two of their friends are moving away, so they're kind of hanging out the night before, and there's a chemical outbreak, and this chemical affects your id. So if you are kind of contaminated, then all the repressed anger that you've had and your rage will just come spilling out, and it can be a really scary situation. And so now we're trapped in this house. There's already high tensions. My character, Nina, is divorcing her husband, and we find out that this chemical is airborne, and it could be seeping in through any cracks in the house or windows. And so that kind of just creates even more tension than there already was.
Awesome.
Now, there's been quite a wide release of this. I've seen, your videos on Facebook where you were picking it up in Walmart. Like, what's the scope of this? Like, where can people find this?
Absolutely. Well, I believe we've sold out in a couple countries, or one specific. I can't remember. This is so terrible. I can't remember it exactly. But you can find it online at Walmart, Target, Best Buy. You can find it on Amazon, I believe iTunes. But you can also find it in stores at Walmart, which is, to me, the most exciting, because I could walk into Walmart and see the movie that I worked on, which was one of the most rewarding things I've gotten to do so far.
Well, that's so instantly gratifying too. You can hold it in your hand, and so much of media and video is so intangible these days with video on demand and things like that. So I think to hold something physical in your hand, I think that's really cool.
Exactly. And that was something that I actually, even last year, I mean, of course, acting is one of my biggest passions, but there's also challenges. And I remember just thinking that a year from now, I'm going to get to see this in Walmart. And I pictured taking a picture of it for Facebook and writing the post. And it was really cool. So it was good to actually be able to do that in real life a year later.
I would just stand next to it and just be like, I'm in this movie. Put it in the cart.
Yeah.
You should buy it.
You know what? It was so funny. I kind of teared up a little bit in Walmart while I was alone. And two, I was like, I need somebody to take my picture. And so I bought the DVD, and I was in the checkout line, and to the cashier, I was like, just so you know, I am in this movie. I'm just really excited. So I was just wondering if you could maybe take my picture. And she was like, Justine, can you take this picture for this girl?
Oh my God.
And Justine comes up, and I tell her the same thing. I'm like, I'm so
sorry, Justine.
Yeah. And she was like, okay, I took two, and just handing me my phone. Did not care at all, which made it even more hilarious.
An embittered employee at Walmart.
There's literally nothing more humbling on God's earth than Walmart. It will humble you in one way or another.
Yeah.
So we often have producers, cinematographers, editors on. So we don't normally have, I think, the luxury of having from an actor's point of view.
She might be our first.
She's our first
actress. Yeah.
Can you? Yeah.
Oh.
Unless you count Len's high kicks. No.
His high kicks do kind of count, but
well, Len does enough that we talk to him about the back end. This
right.
is more about the performance.
But can you tell us like how you came across this? Was it just a basic audition? Was it somebody you knew? How did you come across this project?
So Mark and his family kind of moved. They had done a lot of productions down in Texas, and they moved to Pittsburgh. Mark is the director, Mark Cantu, and he had been kind of networking with a lot of the other actors in Pittsburgh, and luckily one of my friends was talking to him, and she recommended me, and so he reached out on Facebook, and I sent him my reel, and we kind of talked a little bit, and then we met up and in a group, and we all talked about the role, and this was the first feature that I was ever going to get the chance to work on, so I was really excited. So I got very lucky. It kind of just fell into my lap in a really awesome way.
Awesome. Now acting is one aspect of you. Now you pretty much done the full gauntlet of film stuff. Like you do stunts as well, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Ooh, tell me about stunts. That's exciting.
It is. I love it. And, I actually teach, besides acting, as a full-time job, I teach self-defense and CrossFit. And so it was really funny when I first started getting involved with stunts. I was like, oh, this is going to be so easy. I do self-defense all the time. And it is completely different. I remember showing up and trying to do what I would do in real life to defend myself. And they're like, that punch is going to have to be like 3 times bigger. And it needs everything just needs to be so over the top for stunts. And it was really funny, but it's so fun. I absolutely love doing stunts.
Awesome.
Now, what was it like working on a feature length film? I was kind of scouring before, and then you kind of mentioned it a minute ago. This is the first foray into feature length. What was that like being on a project that was that long, and how long did you guys shoot for?
We had a very short timeline. So we filmed for, I believe it was 2 weekends. So it was 5 days total. We had 5 days to film.
Wow.
That's short.
Yeah. And so I absolutely loved the experience. It was the most incredible experience I've ever had. But I will say it was also the most challenging and exhausting experience I've had as an actor, because it was one scene after the other. And all of these scenes are pretty emotionally intense from the beginning to the end. And it just gets progressively more intense. So I remember after the second day, which was our longest day of filming, I just came home and just crashed. I was so exhausted because I never realized how draining it would be to kind of just be so highly emotional for that long.
Right. And a lot of people don't consider this that haven't worked in any kind of production before. We're talking about 12, 14, 16-hour days, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's always tough. So we have a little bit of history. We may mention this before, but we all know each other from being at Chatham. We were grad students, and you worked in the broadcast studio.
Yes.
Now, how has that experience prepared you for where you're at now?
Okay, I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this, but
you can swear so much.
How have we avoided swearing up to this point? All right, but
that's true.
Feel free to let the devil's curses fly from your gauntlet.
Let it fly, girl.
Perfect. So, I always say that having a production in film, having a background in film production has really helped me not be an asshole as an actress.
Yay! That's amazing.
Because I understand that nothing about about film production is quick. Like, there's so much involved in setting up every single shot. There's so much involved behind the scenes. So that has helped me so much to just have an appreciation as an actress for everyone else involved in the production.
I was going to say, because, it was your dorm room that I had in my thesis film someone murdered in.
Exactly, yeah.
Claim to fame.
Blood all over the place.
Brian, I've been meaning to tell you should probably lay low. You're wanted for murder.
It was a fake murder. It wasn't real, okay? had just occupied Katie's dorm room.
Katie, can you back
for
this up?
about
Is this true?
a day?
Yes, there was a lot of fake blood.
Yeah, so much fake
Brian's
blood.
very proud of his.
I'm very proud of that.
But interesting. Kind of throw that 180 on there. What would you say? Being from a production background, for any kind of director working with an actor, whether that's a $5 budget up to a couple hundreds of thousands and anywhere in between, what should these lower budgeted filmmakers know about treating actors on set? Because I think it's very easy to focus on getting the shots you need and keeping on schedule, and a lot of times a lot of directors will forget how to properly deal with actors. So what would your recommendations be to any kind of independent directors in terms of dealing with actors?
Absolutely. I would say I've worked with a lot of different actors, and I've worked with actors who will literally, they'll be like, okay, Katie, you're on. And you run up on set and they're like, action. And you have no idea what scene, you don't know what shot, you don't know where you are. And I would say, of course, you always have a limited amount of time on set, but always take the time. You always have time to spend at least 30 seconds just helping the actor get in the headspace right before the scene, and just talk out what you're looking for, remind them of maybe what the character's feeling, what has happened before this, and just take that extra 30 seconds to a minute to kind of just get your actor in the headspace before you start shooting. That would be my biggest advice.
Have you found that certain directing styles are like almost counterproductive? Like I've the worst thing I've ever heard as a director is when someone says, "Oh yeah, I just told them to act sad," and it's like that. There's so many different variations of sad. Like you can't just do that, and it just seems like as an actor that would be constant struggle to deal with directors that really don't direct.
Absolutely. We would joke on night zero with Mark and be like, yeah, do that, but do better. Just that, but better. And it's like, okay, great. But I mean, of course he was joking, but that is something that you will get from a lot of directors, because they don't necessarily know exactly how to articulate what they want. But like you said, there's a whole spectrum of emotions just in sad. So really kind of, even just beforehand as a director, taking time to kind of think about exactly what you want your actor to feel and then be able to communicate that to them would be very helpful.
Look up the Strasberg method, people. There's a science to this. But yeah, I think it's also important, and I want to know your take on this, that there are certain people that should maybe step away from speaking with actors. Because I had a friend of mine, he would always have these grandiose ideas, and he would always want to do a lot of the set design and light it, but he could not talk to an actor to save his life. And I would, basically my only job on set was to keep him wrangled and to speak with the actors. I didn't run the camera. I didn't compose the shots. I just communicated to them, here's what we're trying to do. And his scripts were sometimes a little disjointed, so it was kind of hard to do so. But do you think it's important to know your limitations? Because there might be some people that can make beautiful shots and compose beautiful images, but they just don't know how to properly, communicate with the actors that are in their projects.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point. And I think especially with smaller productions, sometimes it's hard because people have to wear so many different hats. And sometimes people get caught up with maybe trying to direct and do this and do that and that. And in the end, I don't think that it is very beneficial. I think taking the time to maybe, like you said, find someone who can communicate with the actors and just have that be their job. I think that would make a lot of productions even better.
Now, I've always been a big proponent of I don't have to like you. I have to trust you when it comes to productions. If I can like you too, it's much better. How much on set is it important for you to kind of have a communal feel, family feel, like to get along well with the director? Or does it not necessarily matter, like in a professional level, if you feel that you can trust this person, that they have the best interest of your performance and the production in hand?
Yeah. You know what? I would say, and this is just my professional side coming out, but I'll be like, I will get the job done no matter how I feel. And I'll make sure, I'm not going to let anybody influence my performance. But at the same time, I will say 100% it makes a huge difference when you feel like a family on set, because it is, especially when there's kind of a lot of emotions involved. You are so vulnerable, and it's you're just vulnerable walking on a set because you have a lot of people just watching you. It's performance anxiety, so being able to have somebody that you really trust and you feel close to, I think that's vital. And that was something that we definitely had on set with Mark and everybody on Night Zero, and that was really the coolest thing. Was that even though we only had 5 days to shoot, we started kind of meeting up, rehearsing just months in advance. And even if it meant driving to Waynesburg as a mini cast and crew and just looking at what we're going to be filming, he really worked to kind of create some bonding experiences for the cast and crew, which made it on the day that we were filming much easier.
That's awesome. Now, going back to what you had said before, Katie, you said that your background, as a person with film knowledge, that helped you to not be an asshole, which is great. You specifically had said, knowing what it takes to set up a shot and like having that preparation in advance, of like, I guess having the patience to like understand what's going on. Was there anything else about your film education that really informed your acting experiences that you wouldn't have possibly known if you were just an actor?
That's a really good question. I think yes. Okay, so I think a lot of times actors might have a kind of a difficult time. I've found that sometimes actors it's kind of jarring because we're not filming linearly like you would in the script. So I think just knowing what goes into the editing process and how kind of having an idea as to like if the director's talking like, oh, this is where he's going to want to cut here and add this and blah, blah, that has really been able to kind of inform my performance, I guess. I wish I had a better answer. Damn it, that was such a good question.
But it's a good answer. I mean, I think knowing that it isn't going to make sense in the shooting, because you guys then did shoot out of order.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's helpful for anybody on the acting level to be involved, even in the most rudimentary sense of production. But I think it's also very important for any of the production people to take like a theater class or two.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so easy to take acting for granted, because a lot of filmmakers, they see it as like they brought a nuclear physicist on set. They just don't know anything about it. Just try acting better, action,
So speaking kind of them, that's a good transition, John. How do you prepare for a role? Be it in Night Zero or perhaps as Garfunkalonia.
Oh, you did not bring that.
I was going to bring that up.
I did.
You beat me to it.
I so did. How do you prepare for that?
First, I love that you brought that up.
Deep cut right there.
So amazing.
But okay, yeah, there's a bunch of different ways that I prepare, and I think Night Zero was actually a really interesting thing because I was it came at a life transition for me. Also, I had just broken up with my boyfriend of 5.5 years, and so it was. And I'm playing a character who's divorcing her husband. Mm-hmm. So it was, in a way, it was actually really great. Like I never want to seem like I'm kind of taking advantage of my own emotions and like using myself, which anyways, but I did in a way. I was like, wow, I mean, if I'm going to feel this way, let's use it. So before any kind of emotional scenes, I would just put the most sad songs possible that I like bawled my eyes out in real life. And I would just put them on and just get in the zone. And as an actor, I think that's another really important thing for some directors to know is that there's actors really prepare in different ways. Like I need to be by myself. Mm-hmm. I don't like when people are trying to talk to me or just joking around with me before I'm about to get on set. I like just putting my music on, getting in the zone, just being by myself. And that was really something that I did a lot with Night Zero.
That's awesome.
How much method acting do you incorporate into your performances?
You know what? I think it's so cool when people do that sometimes. Also, I think it can be really obnoxious sometimes. Like anytime I hear method acting, I'm like, I just think of, I can't remember what's his name, but the guy who played Joker and like
Jared
would
Leto.
not. Yes, and how he literally tormented everyone on set and people hated him, and I'm like, all right, stop it.
Stop mailing me condoms, dude.
Yes,
That's amazing.
I really try. I'm not into that, like being off set and be like, only call me Nina. That's my name now. Like I do not. I'm not really into that, but I am definitely into kind of using your own life experiences and bringing them into set with you. But as far as method acting, I don't really do that.
I mean, I think that's really the best type of acting is when you're not really acting, you're pulling from life experiences. I mean, that's ultimately why you get into specific roles, is because you can find something in your own, personal life that you can pull from. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that's the best type. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, it sounds kind of lofty, and you can make it sound very affected, like, oh, I'm searching for my truth. But I mean, that's what film acting is, because, when you're on the stage, it's much bigger. You have to get to the back row of the theater. So it's not as honest. And when you're on camera, it can catch the most minute of facial expression. So, I mean, so much of film acting is about truth. So I think to take something from your own life and like you said, like, I might as well use this, to inform the performance itself. I mean, I think that's awesome.
Definitely.
And you know what? It's funny that you said that, because that is exactly why I love film acting as opposed to theater, even though I think theater is great. But I remember even at Chatham when I would do some of the plays there, they'd be like, Katie, this isn't film. You can't be subtle. Like, you have to be bigger. And I just couldn't
he's
do
not
it.
that big. No, I meant it's easier to get to the back wall. I'm not shitting on the Eddie Theater. I love that. Yeah, just kind of a side tangent. It's funny that you say, call me Nina on set. Of all movies, Back to the Future, when Eric Stoltz was still on there, he insisted on being called Marty. And I mean, I love Back to the Future, but this isn't Shakespeare. And when they went to fire him, they went up to Christopher Lloyd and they said, "Hey, Chris, I'm sorry to tell you this, but we had to let Eric go." So, oh, okay. Was that like a key grip or something? He's like, "No, Eric." He's like, and he's just shaking his head. He's like,
"Oh, you mean Marty?"
He's like, "Marty McFly." He's like, "Oh," he's like, "I thought his name was Marty."
That's
all he would answer to. And that's why he was so confused. He didn't know that.
That's so funny.
But yeah, sorry for that little side tangent.
No, it's a good side tangent.
No, but so how do you separate like acting for a theater production as compared to acting for film? Because a lot of people will exaggerate it as, oh, these silent actors don't know how to not go so over the top with their emotions. Back when that transformation happened. But what is the difference between doing a theater production as compared to a film production?
I would say that the biggest thing is kind of what you guys were talking about before, just subtleties. And I think that's the beauty. That's my favorite part of film acting, is the fact that you can just the slightest movement of your eyes or a facial expression that everyone can pick up, and they can immediately kind of connect with the emotion that you're portraying. Whereas in theater, you do have to be a little bit more obvious with kind of what you're trying to convey. And I mean, and I love theater again, especially, I mean, improv. I love that. But I would say theater, film production that's my love for that reason, because you can be a little more subtle.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what's up next on the docket for you here?
Well, you know what? I talked to Mark. I know that they have a couple other films in the works, and so we're talking about that. And it's exciting to me because kind of the first time ever I can kind of take a deep breath knowing that there's projects in the future instead of frantically being like, "What's my next project? I need it. I'm not doing enough." So I'm excited for that. And other than that, you know what? I started in comedy. That's always been my love. And then I remember telling somebody that a couple weeks ago, and they're like, "And when was the last time you did anything funny?" And I was like, "Oh my God, you're right." So,
you're like, "Well, I was Garfunkelonia after all."
Right. Yeah. I'm like, I'm clinging to that. Come on. But I would really like to kind of get back into doing a little bit more comedy too. It was funny because when I was doing comedy, I was like, I want to try more dramatic roles. And now that I've done that, I'm like, all right, now I want to get back to doing some more comedic roles. So that's what I'm looking to do.
Now there's always a thing that I think that film professionals kind of struggle with in Pittsburgh, and that's just finding meaningful work and things like that. As an actor, have you had that same issue? Like, I mean, I know for myself, it's been kind of a struggle to find editing jobs besides just the ordinary freelance gig, doing weddings or anything like that. For actors, is it the same sort of deal?
Oh, absolutely. I think absolutely. I think the hardest thing kind of in Pittsburgh is right now, if you want to get paid, you are going to be an extra. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, but if you want the best role of your life, then you're going to get meals and credits. Mm-hmm. It'll be a short film, but it'll be a really cool, awesome project, but you're not really going to get paid for it because nobody has a budget. So I think that is really hard to try to balance those two. But I guess for me, I just started with, you just have to start with kind of the shitty project that like you're not going to get paid for, but they're going to be awesome. You're going to feel good, or just be an extra for free for people. That's where I started. Just do anything that you possibly can for free. Build your reel, build a resume, and then start sending it out to as many people as will look.
So despite that, you would still say Pittsburgh's awesome?
Oh, absolutely. I would say, yeah. Pittsburgh is great. And you know what? Pittsburgh is okay, some people might not like that I said this, but I think Pittsburgh is the best place to get started. It's the great place to build your reel, and just get some credits. Is that terrible? Are people not gonna
No. Hey, I still believe, and I've had people who've said I was wrong in this belief, but I've always believed that it's better to be the big fish in the small pond than to be the tiny fish in the massive giant pond where everyone else is a little fish too. So I love Pittsburgh. I think you can make something here for yourself. It is more of a struggle. Obviously if you're in Los Angeles or New York, obviously there are more opportunities because that's where the industry hubs are at. But I still believe that, we're small enough that we can find really awesome people who are also in the same boat.
Yes.
And want to make great things.
Well, I think in New York and LA, there's more opportunity for rejection, even more than there's more opportunity for work.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kiss Pittsburgh's ass every week on this
show.
Do. So, we're a little favoritism here.
If Pittsburgh does serve like a greater purpose, like why wouldn't you try to ride that big fish wave? Like you said, build your resume, build your reel. And then if that leads to other things in other cities, like there's nothing wrong with that either,
I always do say that there is room for improvement. I absolutely believe that there's room for improvement for Pittsburgh in terms of film. I think we rely too much on outside productions coming here and just kind of using our space and using our crew, but not really investing anything else other than that. I think we need more sound stages. I think we need more editing suites. I think we need more permanent structures here rather than just, hey, they came here for 3 months and then they're gone.
Yeah, that it always feels like the one night stand, right? Like they're just here for a little bit and they love us and leave us.
Guys, we do have a guest.
Oh, I know.
Sorry, we're just going on
Katie, what's your take on all that?
What do you think of that?
Turds. All of us.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree. I think it is really, it's difficult because I know a lot of friends who have worked on like Mindhunter or Downward Dog or any of the other things that are coming to Pittsburgh. And it is hard because you'll have like this consistent work for maybe even a couple of months, but you still in the back of your mind, that it's going to go away at some point, and then you don't know if you're going to have work again. And I think that's like Brian, like you said, I think if we could build up kind of some more permanent structures in the Pittsburgh production world, that would be ideal. I would love that.
I just know that when I visited Miami a couple years ago, and I noticed that despite the fact that you would get productions there every once in a while, they had a permanent base of people. and they had a permanent base of just production companies that were cranking out, I think their big thing over there is TV infomercials. So, those are always being made.
There has to be a better way.
and probably pornography too. There is that too. But it's just a matter of that, there are always something that can be made there, be it in advertising, or even in TV that, you can always have set up. And I think that's the one thing that Pittsburgh's missing. We got the movies, we have the Netflix TV shows, but I think we really need something that's kind of, permanent.
Gotta get Fred Rogers back here.
You want to dig him up?
Yeah, new Fred Rogers.
Whoa, no, sacred ground. Leave him alone.
Yeah. Any desire to get behind the camera anytime soon?
You know what? I think I love being behind the camera for my own projects. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to me just focusing on acting, I like to kind of be able to just do that, because I've tried, even with Garfunkelonia, it's challenging to kind of make that really abrupt switch from behind the camera to in front of the camera, then back behind. And it can be really challenging. So for my own projects, I do enjoy doing that, but kind of in the near future, I'm really just looking to focus on acting.
Awesome. Now we did mention Garfunkelonia. Do you want to explain what that is? Because somebody will be like, what the fuck is that?
People already tuned out. They heard that name. They're like, we don't even care. I don't know what the fuck that's about. But okay. Yeah, sure. So Cigar is the name of a mockumentary that I did in college with a friend. And it is about two women who can't play instruments or sing, but they're trying to make it as an air cover band of Simon and Garfunkel. I played Garfunkelonia, and my friend played Simone, and we would just go around to kind of random places in Pittsburgh and just do our air guitaring and lip syncing to Simon and Garfunkel. And it was pretty hilarious because no one ever knew if we were serious or not, and they always made fun of us or hated us. So that just made it funny.
And those were like real people's reactions too, right? Like these weren't
Absolutely.
like plants.
No, these were real people. Yeah.
Well, interesting. You should mention that now. How much do you enjoy improv in terms of, whether it's feature length, short, whatever the situation may be, as compared to having something like very stringently scripted? Do you like the idea of freedom on set, or do you want something on the page? I
love freedom, and I've worked with both. I worked with a director who was like, yeah, I just really don't like when people change my words. I just want every word to be exactly like it was in the script. And I was like, I don't think we're going to work well. I don't think this is going to be a good thing. And that was the coolest thing about Night Zero is Mark gave us kind of a base script, just some bones, and then he really allowed us to just pretty much improv throughout the entire film. So that is my ideal situation, if I can kind of just have a base of where you want the scene to go, but have the freedom to improv a lot with with the other actors. That I love that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that directors kind of have to let the actor do their job. Like
exactly, yeah. It fosters much more authenticity when you're just when you have that freedom to improv a little bit, because there were times when things just come out and you weren't planning it, and you're like, wow, that was really good because it was very real.
That's what I always feel like. You don't know what's going to come of the scene until you're in it, and when you do trust people to do their job, like that's the magic of filmmaking. And that's so hokey to say, the magic, but truly when something comes together in a way you didn't expect, it's amazing.
Well, that's like Empire Strikes Back. The line was, the iconic line, I know. He was supposed to say, I love you too, which would have gone over like a fart in church. But Harrison Ford said,
Wow.
Hey, I've got an idea. He wouldn't say, I love you too back. He's a cocky jerk. He'd say, I know. And that's one of the most iconic lines of that movie. I mean, a little surpassed by I'm your father, but it's iconic. And Harrison did that, not George.
I think also Harrison wanted to get out of the fucking movie. He was just like, you know what? I'm sabotaging this bitch.
I'm going
I don't
to try
care.
to make this as hard on everybody as possible.
Awesome. So, where can they find more information about your films, about you? Can they watch Cigar anywhere?
Well, it's on YouTube, but primarily we have a Facebook page for Cigar, but you can also find that on my Facebook page. I have Katie Maloney, actress. And I would love it if anybody who's listening could like it and check out some of the videos. And then for Night Zero, we have an IMDb page. We have our Facebook page. Primarily, that would be great if people could like Night Zero on Facebook. That would be awesome.
Yeah, guys, it was shot here in Pittsburgh. So to our roughly 3 million listeners per week.
Oh my God!
No, but
I would no longer be working at my job.
Yeah, of all of our Pittsburgh peeps that are listening, support local Pittsburgh filmmakers like Katie. Go check that movie out any way that you can, and it's available at Walmart. Go get it.
Definitely awesome having you on, Katie. It's really great catching up with you.
It was so good to talk to you, Katie.
Thank you so much. First podcast experience in the books. I'm super excited.
Lane, where can they find you on the Twitters?
Come at me on Twitter. No, just don't come at me. Don't come at me. I'm just totally kidding. Why didn't you even say anything controversial this episode? I don't think. No more so than usual.
We shit all over the president.
At LA_Croft on Twitter.
Feel free to come at me.
It was like an invite when I said it, and then I was like, oh no, that's a threat. Stop speaking.
Guys, my DMs are open.
Slide into those DMs.
Just like my back hole. So,
John, no one wants to slide into your DMs if you beg for it.
Oh, well.
What was your sex nickname from the beginning of the show? I forget already.
Oh, don't put me on the spot.
Is that your Twitter handle?
Sex Thunder.
Oh yeah,
Sex Thunder.
So at Sex Thunder.
No, you're not allowed to say it.
Oh.
Sex Thunder.
Well, I was asking if that was your Twitter handle.
Hey, Sex Thunder. What's your Twitter handle?
The Unreal J Wills.
Yes.
See, I can respond to him.
That was amazing. Amazing.
You can find me at Brian Coddington, also on the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network at epicastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw our way, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. And make sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and iTunes and catch a new episode available every other Sunday.
Sex Thunder.
Oh, I figured he would just loop that in.
I just really wanted to have the last word for once, USOB.
No, I did the Ted impression. That's still going in at the end.
Epicast.